Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Vicky, and with me today is my co-host Dean, and we have a guest of Paladin Steve today on Destiny's Dispatch.
Greetings, programs.
Welcome, Steve.
We are going to have some fun today. We're all about the treasure.
Oh, we are.
We are. But before we get to treasure, I'm going to jump in with some exciting news. I am. And it's
Go
very
on.
exciting.
What's the news?
What's the news? You said, pardon? What was that?
What was the news? Go on. What's the news?
What's the news?
Insert GIF. Well, we're waiting.
So,
Ooh, hang on.
ooh,
Let's do it
I
that way.
think that's the way we wanted to go. There it is.
we have
Ooh.
literally in the last 5 minutes, hence all the faffing, we have put ourselves up on BackerKit. So we've got 0 followers at the moment, but it has been less than 5 minutes. So we are
Yes.
live. We made the decision to go with the black and white art. We have got the actual book cover that's in progress at the moment. So we will be updating the teaser page as we go along. But my call out to all of you before I get to the chat is please have a pop on. We will pop the link out there, won't we, Dean? So
Yes,
that
we will.
So you can all go and join. Dean is going to go and find it now, because it's going to be fun. Literally, this is so hot off the press. I pressed go 5 minutes ago as I was faffing, and I've now got a cat sat in my dice tray. Oh, this can only happen to me. So I'm very excited about that. But that's our big news. Look at that. It's getting there.
You need to update your announcement.
Oh, yeah.
You officially have a follower.
Woo! Yay, look at that. We've got our first follower. I'm very excited. Thank you, Paladin Steve. It was a refresh. Ooh, it's going up as we speak. Has Dean popped the link out? I can't hear you. You're on mute.
It was giving me a stupidly long URL, and I have now. It's still a stupidly long URL, but it takes you to our page. So yes, if you can, brilliant. That would be fantastic. There's a countdown on there, a timer, and
Yep.
shall we move to something a bit more friendly?
Let's say, when did I become the host?
You are the host, didn't we tell you? We're going
Sorry.
to sit back.
It's-
We've had such a hard day today.
Mm.
And
Everybody, welcome to the stream. I am the new owner of Untold Destiny.
I nearly lost it. I think I had lessons with Michael yesterday on AI to help me with my thumbnails, and it was really great fun. So, Michael, I can see you in the chat. Thank you so much. I had an absolute blast. I've had a really good play as well, and I'm starting to do bits and pieces for thumbnails, and I am really enjoying it. But can I say, I was really pleased with the thumbnail that I did for this stream. So I made Dean up to be Indiana Jones, and then Michael comes out with one with me with spiders all over me. Ugh.
I thought that was fantastic, and that's the one we use for our countdown. And we got the other one then for YouTube. But yeah.
So today in the chat we have AGP. Welcome, AGP.
Thank you, AGP. Always good to have you here.
And we have Cam.
Thank you, Cam.
We have Michael.
Always lovely to have you here, Michael. Thank you so much for teaching my wife how to use AI to generate images. She's been doing nothing but generating all these images. She even did several. I need a haircut. As you can see, my hair is just a little bit. So she started making images of me in the form of Tintin and handing them to me.
Well, you see, this comes back to our history. You see, whenever Dean needed a haircut, I used to just look at him and go, Hergé's Adventures of Tintin, because he always gets this little sort of, and yeah,
Yes.
so it's just an old sort of
Mm,
wifey joke. So
it
I
is.
was cooking earlier today, creating pictures of him done up as Tintin and showing him. So I think he's now gone and booked his haircut. You know,
Does,
and
does
I
that
haven't listened.
AI also help
Yes.
you edit Dean's writing?
No, nothing helps me edit Dean's writing. Time
now,
and
now.
whiskey.
It's okay,
There are
Dean, we love
there,
you.
there are tools on the internet. One's called Vicky, the other one's called Steve, and apparently they're going to help edit this. Jack has also helped as well. So
Yes,
no, I'm
Jack's
looking
done
into using a couple of tools, just get all the basic errors out the way. So when I hand
after
it over
I've
for
edited
editing,
them. It's like to hide. Yeah, you're getting embarrassed now, aren't you? You keep going.
yes. So I'm just going to make sure that stuff is as good as it can be. Although I'm not claiming anything for today. All these tables are hot off the press, so if there are any mistakes, I do apologize, but I think they'll be fine.
You see, I was going to be rolling dice, but Freya has decided she's sat in the actual dice tray.
That's going to be difficult to roll. They only come up one way.
Yep.
She's
Oh, look at her.
so well.
Yeah. I'm sure you can. Oh, she's just oblivious. Oh no, hang on. She's now looking at you. There we go. Right. This is about TTRPG, not about cats. And she just looks adorable.
It's now about cats.
Adorable?
It's now about cats. She made an appearance. I was on the Bad News Bards Tennessee Tabletop Tavern, interviewing the Gooey Cube. And Freya made an appearance on the back of my chair, leaping up onto the
of course,
the bookcase, and then leaping back again. So yes, right. We're wondering.
We better get on track. So today is all about treasure, and what we're going to do. I'm actually going to take Freya out of the running for the minute, because she's definitely settled down there. Oh, for God's sake.
Are you having problems with double click?
Yeah, I'm getting all this double click.
Yes.
That's okay.
Anyway.
I mean, even if you can't use yours, I've got mine to use.
Yes.
So.
We'll be
I
fine.
think you're going to have to do all the rolling there, Steve. So
I have no problem with that. You know.
Yeah.
So today is all about the treasure, and Dean is very. I've always enjoyed the way that Dean hands out treasure. So he's made sure that there's plenty of ways that the GM can give you players lots of loot. So Dean, come and show us what you've done.
Right. And it's done it again. 2 seconds. There we go.
It's not just me.
It's not just you. I'm hoping you can all see that. I can't really zoom in on it, but effectively, if you have played something like second edition, first edition, I've always been inspired with the way they do treasure on that. So creatures will have letters under their treasure indicator, and those letters will indicate what you roll in the way of treasure. Hang on. And then if they've got a layer, as in a base of operations, or they have a hoard, it's in brackets, and then they're typically the letters K to Z. And it's a great way of just getting a kind of view of how are we going to do the treasure, how are we going to randomize it, and off you go. But what I've tried to do is make sure it's as streamlined as possible as we go through. What I will do is I'm going to jump to So there are 2 creature stats. Much more refined in the basic system. In the advanced system, the creature stats were taking like a page each, and there was a lot to read through. Here, nice little blocks, perfectly done. The Orc War Leader is a leader, and he has got the layer treasure for if you take out an Orc encampment or you attack an Orc encampment, what kind of treasure, what kind of gear will they have there? And I'll go through it in detail in a bit. And then we got the Shard of Talos, who is an elite opponent. And only has layer treasure because typically it'll be the people who've tried to defeat or have encroached on its territory and it has killed, which is L and R. So it's all very straightforward. And if I return to the top, Steve, are your dice warmed up?
My dice are always ready.
Oh, look at those. They look
So
so are these a new set that you've had from Only Crits?
they are the most recent of the sharp edge dice that I got through my subscription.
Oh, they
So,
look very nice.
Nice and beautiful. You can see the flowers in there, nice and sharp numbers. And this is particularly interesting. This is the D4.
Can I just say, do not stand on that.
No, you do not want to be on the end of that
No.
because that is going to
Definitely
hurt.
not. Oh, yeah.
So I apologize for the glare. This thing's right up against my computer screen. All of
But
this
they look really beautiful. They've almost got a marble effect.
from Only Crits, and I apologize for my camera going nuts there. It's trying to focus on something that's not there, but
It's going in, out. It's having a party.
We're seeing the heartbeat of the camera. Oh,
Don't.
jeez. Now it's
Then-
gone really. Yes.
Then the world will know that we've realised that we're all part of the same machine.
Yeah. So you're creating an adventure, and the party are going to be coming up against an Orc encampment. And should they defeat the Orc encampment, they get to reap the rewards of that defeat. In fact, what we're going to do is we're not going to start with the Orcs. The Orcs are slightly better treasure than the Shard of Talos. So they're exploring a tomb. There is a Shard of Talos, and this is a big bronze statue. It's a guardian of this tomb, and it needs to be defeated. And you're now designing the dungeon, this final part of the dungeon. What treasure is this Shard of Talos going to have? So if I bring up yes. So Steve, have you got your dice ready? Because we're looking at the lair treasure is Al, which is coinage. And it is, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the coinage first. Pennies and moons are within this treasure hoard. 3d10 multiplied 3d10 multiplied by d20. Now I know you've only got one set of dice there, so I hope you've got a couple of other d10s.
oh no, I have more dice.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think you will ever speak to anyone who's been role playing for more than 5 minutes and say, "Well, I hope you've got more dice," and hear them say no, because I think we all go around with buckets of dice. Could I mention, while Steve is getting his dice ready, that AGP had his first session for Tales from Trinity City, and he almost had a TPK. No.
Yes, it should have been a TPK. What went wrong? Well, I hope they got out safely. Yes.
And I hope everyone enjoyed. I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Did we lose Dean?
I think we did lose him. I promise I haven't pressed any buttons to evict my
I also
husband.
Nice big bag of dice.
Oh, very nice.
That is a good bag of dice.
So,
No,
Okay.
Restream are still causing a lot of issues. So what we're going to do is when randomizing treasures, so I'm the GM.
3d10 and a d20, right?
Yes, that's right. So I know for treasure type Al, the pennies are 3d10 times a d20. So we're going to do that straight away.
All right, so you said 3d10 and a d20.
Yep.
I have a calculator.
Yes.
Okay.
So add the 3d10 together.
We have a 2, a 3, and a 7, so that would be 12
Multiply it by the d20.
times 14.
168.
So there are 168 pennies potentially scattered about the feet of this shard of Talos. And now we're going to move on. We're still dealing with L. It's now 2d10 times a d20 moons. And a moon, it's a kind of a silvery coin. It's worth 20 pennies.
Wow.
Oh, wow. So that's 20.
20 plus, times 13.
Which is 260.
So that's a very impressive hoard. You've got about 5 florins, and I'm mentioning this so you get an idea of the kind of economy scaling you've got within Untold Destiny. You've got about 5 florins of coinage scattered around, potentially on the remains of those who tried to defeat the Shard of Talos before. And now we move on to the more interesting part. So the coinage is out the way. For the other treasure, it's got type R. And what we're going to do is roll a d6. If you get a 1 or a 2, Steve, for the purpose of this, just re-roll the d6. So there is a chance there isn't any magical gear. So yeah.
That's a 2.
Do you want to roll again? Yeah.
Well, you said we're going to, so.
Yeah.
3.
3. So that would mean 1 magic item or 1 item is also amongst the treasure. So any other gear, so there might be an adventurer there who's got broken weaponry and stuff like that, but something has survived, something of value is at the feet of this this Shard of Talos. So we're now on to D%, and if I bring up my table.
Just
Before we
going to
roll.
interrupt you.
Go on.
And we have Jeffrem Denkar in the chat. Hello, Jeffrem. Here we go.
Got the D% ready right here.
Yep. So I'm just going to show, we got the D, it's a D6 minus 2, any. So it's any item, D6 minus 2. And for each item, you just randomize which category of item it is. So off you go, D%.
Ah. Out of the tray, we roll that again.
Out the tray, roll again. Yeah.
We have a 36.
36 is going to be jewelry.
Oh.
Hey.
We haven't even known each other that long, and you're already giving me jewelry.
I am. Aren't you lucky? If I just move on. So what we're doing is just going through. So there is a table for jewelry enchantments. And the way these tables work, if I just bring the table back up, and this is the same for all the things. You've got a rarity across the top, and that's always rolled with a d20. And typically it's 1 d20. However, if the treasure hoard is a high level treasure hoard, you might be rolling 2d20 and taking the highest, or 3d20 taking the highest, and so forth. And this is a way of being able to, on average, have better gear appearing in a treasure hoard, but not always assuming you won't get low level gear appearing in that treasure hoard. For those who want to run a very balanced game, you can effectively say normal hoards of treasure are only normal, and then when I get to a certain level, I can allow up to greater items, and then I can allow superior items. But what I've done is taken the kind of second ed mindset here, or the classic mindset, which is anything can randomize. And it's up to you as the GM if you want to put that into your game or not. You can always overrule your rolls, but effectively the tables are open-ended here. So,
which is, I mean, honestly, that's the way it should be, because you don't know who's been through there or not. It could have been like some top level fighter who was decked out in gear and just happened to have a bad day.
Oh yeah.
And they've got all his stuff sitting on a display table somewhere, and you found it and you can liberate it. You may not be able to use it, but you now have all this fancy gear that some random guy had before. So
that's always been my approach to this, is that it could be anything in there, and if it is some really good piece of gear, it might belong to someone who lost it. It might have got stolen by rogues and bandits. You get to create these interesting stories around why that piece of gear happens to be in this location. So we're going to start with the D20. Steve, how rare is this item?
Just my luck. It'll be trash gear.
Well, more than likely it will be, because a 1 to 16 is normal.
That's a 7.
That's a 7. So it's a normal piece of gear. Yeah.
And I'd just like to say hello to Cyrus. Hello. Lovely
Hiya,
to
Cyrus.
see you.
It is good to see you. And Steve, we're now rolling a D% to see what you get. And as you can see, there is a long list of items.
That is an 88.
88. So if we have a look. I've got a second manual here. We're on jewelry. 88.
This thing just does not want to stay stable.
No, it doesn't. And
Well, you know, you're doing better than my camera did. My camera got hijacked by a cat. I mean, you know, and my dice tray. So, you know, your camera might be bouncing around, but it's not been absolutely purloined by Freya.
Purloined.
So there is a ring here, and the ring has the enchantment swimming on it. So it's a ring of swimming, which means whenever you're involved in tests that, whenever you're doing tests that involve swimming, you get a boon to any of those tests. So it's a great little utility item. It's a normal enchantment, so you know it's fairly easy to learn if you happen to have the learn enchantment spell. So that's the hoard. It's a nice, quick, easy way to generate a hoard for a creature like this. Of course, you can get bigger hoards. And this is where things get a lot more interesting. So we're going to move to the orcs now. And the orcs have a lot more in the way of letters after their... I go back up to the top. So there's a couple of things we roll for the orcs. We're rolling under L for money. So it's the same money roll as before because they're roughly the same sort of level of creature. And they will have collected money off any of the defeated humans and other civilized races they came across. So, Steve, it's the 3d10 times a d20. Let's see how rich this orc hoard is.
3d10 and a d20.
So, Dean, you have been asked a question, which was the value of these items. That's a very good question.
That
indeed.
is a very good question, and I will come to that just after we've done this the set of rolls. So what have you got
We
there?
have 1, 2, 4 for 7 times 13.
And me with the calculator. Oh, I can't press those buttons either. 91.
91 pennies. Oh, not bad.
One of the things to highlight is that our treasure hoards might not sound as if they're, you know, hoards as such, but everything in Untold Destiny, you have to think about the economy and where that treasure's come from. Remember, we said in every time that we've done one of these streams, everything here has a reason, everything has a purpose. Even our economy has been pulled together so that adventuring is profitable, but it's not the sort of thing where suddenly you'll find that you'll outstrip everything that in a sort of 1,000-mile radius for how much money's going around. You can't completely destabilize an area just because you've gone adventuring, but you can, because you're adventuring, because you're actually heading out into danger, you can make a really healthy profit, and far more than you would if you were just doing a day job.
Absolutely. And to answer...
I was going to say, one of the things I will say, you know, as a reminder to dungeon masters out there, just because your players find a whole butt ton of money doesn't mean they're going to find places where they can really use it, because supply and demand still does exist.
Absolutely. Right. What we're going to do is to answer the first question. So, Cyrus, you asked the value of the. I'm assuming the ring.
It was the ring of swimming.
The ring of swimming would have a market value of around about 30 florins. So it's a pricey item, but you would need to find someone you could sell it to. The likelihood is you would find a merchant potentially who might give you 7, 8 florins for it, unless you decided you were going to try and auction the item yourself. And if you tried to do that, you've got security concerns. You're then advertising the fact you got this, very high value item with you. So it's very difficult for you to sell enchanted gear unless you've got more trusted people you can sell to. And even then, the amount of money that they will pay you won't be close to the actual value of the item. If you had an enchanter in the party, they could create a ring of swimming over a period of 15 days, spending 1 florin per day, 15 florins. So half the price of trying to buy it on the open market. If it was a greater enchantment, they are 90 florins. And then the superior enchantments, so this is the top level enchantments, are 135 florins. So you can see the scaling here isn't like D&D where it's like 100 gold for one, then 1,000, then 10,000, then 100,000. We've taken a much more granular approach to how this is all put together. So the economy is very grounded. And as Steve said, even if you manage to find a load of items, the likelihood of finding someone to buy them could be difficult. Storekeepers don't tend to have a lot of cash just lying around. So we're going to move on now to the moons. 2d10 times a d20, please.
I suppose you always could just trade for a whole bunch of chickens or something, but...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Trade is probably the way to do it. You find a merchant who's got some magic gear that you want, and what you can do is trade what you've got for what they've got and potentially pay a transfer fee or something like that to the merchant.
All right, so we're doing 2d10 and a d20?
Yeah.
That is a 10 times 17, so 170.
So we've got 91 pennies and 170 moons within this orcish tribe. And that is... roughly... Yeah, I am getting... I got the other hoard slightly wrong. So that's probably about 35 florins worth there. Let me just check the other hoard. My calculator went a bit, yeah. The other one was about 53 florins in that hoard, plus then the jewel. So the Shard of Talos probably had about 80 florins worth of treasure, including the magic item 53 in coinage. But you got to remember, if there is a party of 5, that's like 10 florins each, and you've probably gone through one hell of a dungeon, used up a lot of resources to get here, and you've now got a long journey back. So those florins go back into just keeping your company going, as well as giving you a bit more profit to potentially improve your gear and to expand from there. So we're looking. The orcs aren't as rich as the Shard. They've got 35 florins within their kind of war chest, but you've got to remember, each of the orcs themselves have individual treasure, so they'll have a lot of pennies distributed amongst themselves. Not that they really spend them. I think it's more trophies of war that they consider this. So we've done...
Orcs are usually fond of just taking what they want.
Absolutely.
Usually in a very violent fashion.
Yes. Right, so we've done the money. The next thing we do is there is an R letter. And if I go down to R, Q, R. Hang on, before we R, S, T. Yes, R. So R is the one we had before. It's a D6 minus 2. And this can be any magic item. So we are seeing is there any magic gear in the orc settlement? And what have we got here, Steve?
We had cocked.
Okay, let's hang on. Big screen. 3.
Look at that. It's a 3 again.
That's fine. So we got 1, but it could be anything. So go on, get your D% out. And we're now rolling on this table here.
Ooh, 38.
38. And 38 is clothing. Ooh. So they've stolen an item of clothing from someone. And what we're going to do...
Well, that's good. My character doesn't have to run around naked anymore.
No. And
We must be
There we
rolling
go.
for a Landar.
so you can see we got our clothing one again. It's the D20 to see what rarity this clothing is, this article of clothing, and then a D% afterwards to see what it actually is. Now, Steve, you're rolling 2D20 now, because the orcs are considered a kind of not a basic treasure hoard, but one slightly more advanced. So they're level 7, or rather considered a level 7 encounter. So their treasure hoards have an additional D20. There's more chance of finding better stuff here, but it's not guaranteed.
Well, that's because they're always raiding civilization.
They always are.
Right.
Have they raided a wealthy merchant on a caravan? Let's have a look.
We have a 9 and an 18.
18.
So that 18 is big, because the 18 pushes you up into a greater enchantment. So we're now rolling D%. Let's see what we get from this list here.
$14.
And a 14 is...
I almost feel like I need a drum roll.
You do need a drum roll. A 14 is braces of armor. So the braces of armor, if you wear them, you gain an armor rating of 6. So it's equivalent of like putting these on. They project a magical shield around you, giving you an armor rating of 6. So if you get hit with a weapon or a targeted attack, you can spend a point of stamina to brace against that, bringing the power of the braces to bear. Brace, quite literally. And you would need to roll a 14 or higher on your D20 to halve the damage coming in. So not bad, actually. Pretty good.
I think we all know who those are going to as well.
Oh, we do. We do.
Our resident chaos gremlin is in dire need of that.
And I believe on purpose they are slightly better than Aether armor. So they're pretty good. Yes, any mage worth their salt will probably be more than happy to buy or find a pair of these armors. So that's the first item we got. Braces of armor. And that would have a market value of 90 florins. But we're now moving to something very interesting. If I just... There were 2 other letter types after the orc, and this is where you can tailor the kind of treasure you find. And the first type was, where is it? S. And S means the orcs could have a D6 minus 3 weapons within their hoard. Okay, because orcs love weapons. So they're more likely to, if they raid a caravan, steal weapons that look very valuable. So a D6 minus 3, you need to get roll a 4, that a 2. For the purpose of, so normally this would mean there were none, but for the purpose of this, we will roll
6.
So D6, I believe that is a 3. There are 3 weapons. Brilliant. So this orc tribe has done really well. They have absolutely raided lots of caravans. And what we can do now is move straight. Weapons are at the bottom. There we go. Straight to weapons. And you can see. Yes.
Scrolly. Cursed items.
There aren't any cursed items within the rules yet, but there's nothing stopping you using cursed items. The reason I haven't put any in yet is because I haven't had a proper think about cursed items. We don't have the spell remove curse, and it then means you need reliance on a spell to get rid of the curse. So from a mechanical point of view, I'm not happy with how the curse stuff kind of works at this point for an item. But what I am looking at, and it wouldn't be in this basic edition, it'll be in one of the further supplements to the basic rules, is having corrupted enchantments. So these are enchantments that act like they normally do, but they have a drawback. And that drawback will be rolled. And it's because the enchantment's slightly corrupted and it's causing a little bit of harm, as well as providing a benefit. So when it comes to cursed items, by all means, if you're running the game, feel free to put them in. But be aware that removal of the curse would be the problem. There isn't a remove curse spell, but that's it. It means you can be imaginative. You can say the curse has to be removed under a moonlit sky whilst bathing in a stream and stuff like that. You can actually be quite imaginative. And then the party, someone gets a cursed item. They're now trying to find and research the way to get rid of that item. And then when they find it, they're on a quest to finally get rid of the damned cursed item and become free of it. So cursed items as standard, there's nothing official, but your imagination is there, and it will more than likely come out in a supplement where we bolster the number of magic items and stuff like that, and bring a whole host of new things to the game.
But
as
we'll give that sort of advice that Dean's just mentioned. We will be putting that in the GM piece,
Yes.
so that you can actually have anything you want cursed. But what we're not doing is coming up with a list right now. Supplements, yes, but not in the basic edition. There's already loads to do.
Exactly. We've had to draw a line and go, nope, this is as far as we're going. I managed to creep in item creation and enchanting, which wasn't originally, and I managed to shoehorn them in. Yes. I think they're important.
Stand by for very specialized items as Saren attempts to get rid of the chaos gremlin gnome that she reluctantly travels with.
Yes.
I need a robe of slipping away quietly.
You do. And you've seen here, there are a lot of magic items already in here. I could have gone mad. I could have doubled, tripled this number, but then we wouldn't have, the book would be huge and would take a lot longer. So we got more than enough to get you up and running. Right, Steve, we got 3 weapons to create, and you can see that mundane is one of the lists here. So an orc might have found a nice looking sword, but it's actually just normal, thinking it was something special. Or they could have found something really good. It's 2d20 again. And would you like to roll for the first weapon, the rarity, and then D% for what type of weapon you find?
All right. 2d20.
Is that another 18 again? That is excellent.
Steve, could you roll treasure instead of Dean when we're playing?
Well, Dean's been the dungeon master or whatever you guys call it for every time we've played together. So, all right. So, and then a D10, you said?
D%.
D%.
Yes, Tome of Magic Items, Cyrus. That's exactly it.
We love the fact even for the advanced system, we've already got multiple supplements already in the pipeline. So for the advanced system, we've got the Lore Masters, we've got So You Want to Play the Bad Guys, all of this stuff already planned out, including the sci-fi then in 2029. So we are making progress towards that. We are on track for June. And as you've just seen, we've just put our project up on BackerKit, and we will be going live on BackerKit on the 13th of October.
Yes.
We have a 53 on the dice.
So a 53 is an Ebonwood short bow, +2. So Ebonwood is a special material, and it makes a +2 weapon. So the short bow, if you fire from it, you add 2 more dice of damage to any hit that lands. So it's a really good bow. Now, when you
sounds like it's fun to fire an Aether missile from.
Oh, yes. Whenever you find a weapon like this, you get to roll a d10. On a 10, it also has an enchantment on it. That is a 6, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So
technically it was cocked, but it was flat enough that we'll call it.
Okay. So this is effectively a +2 short bow, but it's made of Ebonwood, and Ebonwood gives it the +2.
Nice.
Okay. Shall we roll 2d20 for the
2d20.
second?
12 is the highest on that.
Okay, so 12 is the highest, and 12 is going to be a normal item. So roll D%, and we shall find out what weapon you've got.
That's a 54.
54. So you really want Steve to be rolling all of your items? This
I'm
is an
not entirely
ironwood
sure.
short bow. These
The
orcs,
ranger, love him.
these orcs must be going after a lot of rangers. So ironwood is a +1. So it's an ironwood short bow +1. So you only get to roll once. So if there are 2 people who are after missile weapons in the party, whoever's the primary sort of the ranger in the party or someone like that will get the ebonwood, and potentially the master at arms gets the ironwood.
I'm going to put in a formal complaint here, Steve. All right. Yeah, I know that Saren had, could use a bow, but we've got bows and stuff for Thilindril. You've got yourself this, lovely gear, all your braces. Where's my stuff? Come on, roll better.
I'm rolling in the open here. You can see I'm
Yeah.
not trying to cheat you or anything.
Oh no, I just think your dice are naturally biased against the Master at Arms that keeps the Chaos Goblin alive.
Well,
Absolutely.
maybe if you'd be nicer to him, the dice gods would be more cooperative.
Well, in that case,
I'm
they should
just saying.
wait.
Don't forget, there could be an enchantment on this. Do you want to roll your d10? Is there an enchantment?
I don't think there is.
There isn't. Right. So we got one last weapon to roll for this orc tribe. Don't forget that ebonwood shortbow. Likelihood is I'm going to give that to one of the bodyguards of the war chief. In fact, the war chief himself might have that bow. So you come up to the war chief at the very end, and he'll probably have distance on you and be able to shoot you with that war bow. So you're having to earn that war bow. And one of his bodyguards will have the ironwood. And we're looking at is that a 13?
That's a 13.
So 13 is in the
Thank you
normal
for
category
some.
again. Yeah. And it's D% again. Try not to get around the 50s.
I'm not controlling these rolls, I promise. That is a 78.
78
Mm.
is fantastic. That is a Falhide sling staff. This tribe
Nice.
loves their missile weapons. So Falhide
Apparently.
is a +1 and a sling staff. So it's your staff with a sling on the end. You kind of, sling it round and
It's a Kender's Hoopak.
yeah, absolutely. And don't forget your D10 has it got an enchantment on it.
D10. Nope.
No. So if you want, shall we say this one does have an enchantment? So we get to roll on the enchantment table.
I mean, you're the dungeon
Yeah.
master.
Yeah, let's give this one an enchantment.
Let's roll.
Cool.
Let's get an enchantment.
So if it's got an enchantment, we go back to the 2d20. How rare is the enchantment on this sling staff?
Which ones are we rolling?
Can we have the sort of pinky swirly one and the marble one, please?
So the red and the white.
Not the green. Yeah.
Got a 17 and a 9.
So it has a greater enchantment on it. This is pretty good. This middle of the road enchantment, very powerful. And now we roll a D% to see what enchantment. If the enchantment doesn't apply, we just re-roll the D% until we get an enchantment that does apply to the weapon.
One of these days, I'll just get a second camera.
Yeah.
That is an 82.
So it is the it becomes, so it's the weapon of striking enchantment. So this becomes a Felhide sling staff +1 of striking, or of striking +1. And what that does is
It gets upset at the work conditions and decides to,
Dude,
file a
goes,
formal
I'm not
complaint.
playing.
something like that. Yes, yes. So
We said no cursed items.
no cursed items. When you deal damage with this, you can spend a point of stamina and add another weapon dice of damage to it. So you can flex your damage up with it by expending some of your energy to land that blows a bit harder. So it's fantastic. That is a great weapon. But there is yet another letter we've got, which is the T letter. And if I come back to here,
These are beverages that people in the UK drink at high noon?
Absolutely.
Tea.
Yes, and orcs are particularly fond of their tea. Tea, the T letter is a D6 minus 3, armors and shields, because orcs like their armors and shields. Not to wear, they don't wear them, but to take as trophies from their fallen enemies. So
that is a 4.
So we'll put 1 in the treasure hoard. And again, it's the 2d20 now to see what rarity this is.
Which one do you want this time, Vicky?
I'll have the green and the red, please.
Green and red. Ah. 12.
Well,
12.
the green
So-
let us down.
That's not bad. It's not mundane at the very least. So roll your D% and let's see what actual weapon, armor or shield is in the hoard.
We have. Ooh. That's a big whopping 2.
2. That's fine. You got Fellhide Gambison. So it's the lightest of all armors. It's +1 armor, which means even though it's got a poor armor rating, it's got an armor rating of 2. You need to roll an 18 or higher on your D20 to brace against damage. It will critically brace on a 19 or 20 because it's +1. That means if you roll a natural 19 or 20, you take no damage. The armor manages to protect you completely. So this plus armor is absolutely fantastic at protecting you and helping you last longer in the very dangerous world that's out there. So I'm just going to make a note. Fellhide Gambison.
I really did try, Vicky, I promise.
And again, like weapons, there's a 1 in 10 chance that there will be an enchantment on this armor as well.
Which means there's a 100% chance there won't be.
Yeah, pretty much. Off you go.
You see, mean. That's all I
a
can
4.
say.
That's 4. But again, for the purpose of this, shall we say there is an enchantment? Roll those 2d20. Let's see what enchantment is on this armor.
All right. Let's see, we've done red and white, red and green. I guess we're doing green and white now, Vic.
Yeah, green and white. That green's on starting to look towards a jail if it's naughty again.
We got 2 10s. That's like a critical roll right there, right?
No.
Yeah, it quadruples everything.
No, it does not.
You
And
can tell
let's-
it's
let's
not the
go.
players that have written this treasure, isn't it?
Yes. So we're looking at a normal armor enchantment. Roll those D%, and then we will have a look at what it is.
That is a 67.
It is shadowed. So you have Shadow Fellhide Gambison +1. And shadowed means you get a boon on any stealth checks, tests you make to hide or to be stealthy. That's
Valentriel
fantastic.
Valentriel made bank on my treasure rolling.
And that would be how you would create. Now, bearing in mind, taking down an orc encampment is not an easy task at all. It would take considerable planning. There would be incredible high risk. You'd probably be burning up resources to attempt to do so. It would be a challenging thing to do. But should you do it, that's actually quite a nice haul. Albeit, if we were rolling, there might not have been any weapons because Steve couldn't roll that first D6 well. But he made up with it for the second roll with the 6. But that's the way it goes. Treasure's quite random. You could end up with a massive hoard, or you can end up with hardly anything.
We all know that when it comes to the D6, the only thing I'm good at rolling is the stats. So,
yeah. So for treasure hoards that typically have gems and art objects, there's a reason orcs don't really do that. Gems are just stones to them, and art objects, well, they're not into art. They don't raid things for the value. They raid them because it's there to be raided, and they want to fight, they want to battle, and they want to take.
They love paintings and wood carvings, man. Those things make for great bonfires.
You want me to drop the sheet? Yeah.
Yeah, just the minute. Go back to it when you're using it. It's just that
Yeah,
can't
it's a
see you.
lot.
and
That's
it's
that's fine.
Just a lot of writing.
Yeah, there are many of these tables as you go all the way through. So you got tables to decide, what kind of gems you got, and they all work pretty much the same. The only one that's slightly different is when you roll for art and gems, you only ever roll 1d20 to see how rare it is. That never changes. So you just got to get a little bit lucky to end up with something big there. But there is just list after list of magic items, including potions and bombs and stuff like that. And it is...
And our potions are always quite different because we don't have, potions of healing, so to speak. You've got some really interesting potions that you can get. So that's always good fun. And I think it really makes a difference. And you've really put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah.
And it rounds off what you're getting in the way of treasure quite nicely. Obviously, because Dean's put it together and I haven't put it together. And I will honestly say I had no input into this whatsoever, because Dean knows that whereas he's done it so that you only get a bit, I would put in loads.
You've got to make sure that there's always something to strive for.
I always think that one of the nice things, though, is that when you're playing, your GM can always add specific things related to your campaign. Just because you don't roll something on a random treasures table doesn't mean that you can't put in campaign specific items. And I think what's quite nice is there is so much that you can put into the campaign. There's lots of choice there, so you can actually put some lovely things in for your players, because we like loot, don't we, Steve?
Absolutely.
In fact, we need more loot.
Some of the more exotic stuff, yes.
And one thing I will say, like part of the reason why your economy is so different is your rule set doesn't follow what a lot of the older stuff did, where part of the reason why you were getting, a lot of gold and a lot of high value stuff is because they did the gold for XP.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just a matter of you had this gold for like actually doing trade in cities and stuff like that. You were actually using that money to advance your characters.
Yeah.
So in a system where you don't do that, there's no need for huge giant piles of money lying around everywhere for adventurers to find. They get their stuff, the way that you would normally expect, by going out and slaughtering everything in sight.
And role playing and everything, it all counts. And actually progressing the story, that makes a big difference in Untold Destiny. Now, when we talk about progressing the story, it's not you've got to follow a specific timeline and stuff like that. It's about you working together as a group, making sure that you're not just ignoring some of the tidbits that your GM has put out there, and are actually looking to see what you can do to support the story.
You're being a part of the world and not just running around saying I do what I want.
Yeah.
Now, intelligent items are really interesting, because if you remember what we were talking about when we were talking about last week, we were talking about how Kaseya came around, and about the link between the Aether and Kaseya, and the link between Ascendants and the Paragons that you're playing. When you have a look at that, what do you think our intelligent items are going to be? Yes, they're going to be linked to your ancestors. They're going to be linked to ancestrals. Okay, and if it's a nice ancestral, jolly good. If it isn't, hello.
Yeah. He couldn't get cuddles from me, so he's gone to you. It's Alfie. Alfie's adorable.
He is adorable, but he's now just stood on my boobs, which...
Yeah. So yes, there is another category of item that you can't roll for. They have to be placed in the game, and they're the legendary items. And intelligent items fall under that. So an intelligent item will be any item where the spirit of someone has been infused into the item. And of course, for that to happen, that person must have been very close to ascension. In other words, being very aware that they're on the circle of life and that their spirit has been constantly reborn, so that they could become sentient once they leave the physical form. So you're talking incredible personalities and people. They will be very, very rare. It's not going to be every day you come across an intelligent item, and they will normally have a purpose that they were built for. Something that they needed to achieve. And these could even be intelligent items you find from before the Ashfall, which means, you know, there are some enchantments which have unique beside them. And they're unique because the secret of the enchantment's been lost. So if you find one of these enchantments, you could probably get a bit more coin for them. They're a bit more sought after. But what you can't do is learn the enchantment to create your own items. So some of them will be, there's a load of kind of woodland based enchantments that the druids seek because they allow you to do things like change. It's not that they change metal armor into wood. It's the enchantment allows the wood to be molded and act like metal armor. So you could find ironwood scale armor, and it's got this woodland enchantment on it, which means it works perfectly fine as scale armor, but it can be worn by someone like a druid who is restricted to non-metal armors. So you got a more advanced version of that enchantment, which is it has thorns on it as well. So you can, when someone attacks you, you can sprout thorns from it and deal damage back to them. So we've got all these kind of fantastic stuff. And whereas we've taken the stance that as characters, your resources replenish, your spell points, your stamina, your hit points replenish after a combat encounter. When it comes to magic items, we've gone down the use per day on them. I went back and forth between, should we have charged items? Should we have a recharge ability within the items? What should we do? And we've kind of fallen on, no, let's make them, you know, for certain items, they can operate X times per day. And these will be things like spell casting conduits are things like your wands, your staffs, your holy symbols. And they increase the damage of a spell or the duration of any effect of that spell. So if you've got a holy symbol and it's a +1 holy symbol made of mithril or something like that, and you cast a fear spell that lasts D8 rounds on your target, it'll last 2D8 rounds now. The holy symbol empowers that, it lasts longer. If you do a searing bolt of light at the target, that would normally do 3D8, it would do 4D8 instead. So your casting conduits are very powerful, but some of them can also have a spell attached to them. And that spell's cast 3 times per day. And typically that can be quite a powerful boon, especially if the spell is something that you will use, because you can now conserve spell points and you can activate it through the item. And it's cast at a certain level, which if that's above your level, it's even better. So within the adventure we've got, there are points where treasure is found. And I've got within the adventure, to give it some replayability, roll on the treasure table. Or if you're in the alchemical labs and you manage to find something, it's roll on the treasure table, selecting potions and bombs only. Stuff like this. So as well as the adventure being quite easy to run, there's also this random element running through it to just give it that little bit of a spice. And if someone plays it twice, they're not going to find the same treasure. And one of the treasures you can find there is a wand with fire spray cast at 6th level. And bearing in mind, you're only 1st level adventurers, if you get lucky enough to find that wand, brilliant. It's not a +1 wand or anything like that, so it doesn't help you spell casting, but it allows you 3 times per day to cast fire spray as though you were 6th level. And that is fantastic. That's an incredibly powerful ability and a great boon to any arcane spellcaster.
AGP has a question that I think I would like to answer. AGP is asking, is there a bow conduit so I get even more lightning damage? AGP, what you need to do there is, instead of using a typical bowstring, you need to string up your bow with electric guitar wire.
Yes. So there's a couple of ways you could actually do this. If you've got a holy symbol and then you do a strike, obviously, Paddy's on Rumble. Hiya, Paddy. Great to see you on Rumble. I think you're probably all alone there, but it's lovely to have someone on Rumble. Thank you. Bye, Paddy.
Oh,
Poor
he's
guy.
back to
He's working
work.
hard. He is working so hard at the moment. If you got a holy symbol to your god, and you do a weapon strike, so your lightning strike ability, you would increase the damage that does. So it would add like another weapon or 2 weapons or 3 weapons for the +3. On top of that, there are certain enchantments for bows. So there is, if I get to it, there's a very powerful lightning enchantment for a bow that also increases the weapon damage by 1 dice. And because it's all lightning damage, the 2 would stack with each other. And this enchantment, if I get to it, it is... So it's a lightning weapon. It's a superior enchantment. So it's a top-end enchantment. It allows you to convert the damage of your bow to lightning. So you can always fire lightning from it and increase the damage by 1 dice. So if you're rolling 3d10 for a longbow, you'd be rolling 4d10. However, 3 times per day, you can use an action to deal 96 lightning damage to all creatures in a near line from you. So that's 100 feet from you. All creatures take 96 lightning damage. And that's 3 times per day. So in the middle of a combat, you got a load of creatures heading towards you. They've all lined up quite nicely. You can pull the bow back, ignite the bow with lightning, and send a bolt hurtling through them. There is, but only in two places.
Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between divine and arcana magical items?
There is, but only in 2 places. Your casting conduit, so your wand, staff, or holy symbol. Only arcane spellcasters can use the wand and staff, and only a cleric or similar, so paladins, rangers, can use holy symbols, and only holy symbols that are dedicated to their god. So if you find an Ironwood holy symbol and it's dedicated to a nature god and you're a paladin, you're out of luck. It's not your god, you can't use it. You know, holy symbols are not interchangeable. So it's very restrictive on the cleric side. Wizards get a bit more of an easier ride. A wand is a wand, and they can use any.
I was just thinking, if you were going to tell Paladin Steve that holy symbols would be interchangeable, I think we've had a riot on our hands.
They are definitely not. What, you're going to pick up?
Not.
Yeah, no. You know, I follow Raphael, and I'm going to pick up a Seraphina holy symbol and use it. No, I'm not.
You're a paladin of good, right? You know, you need a holy symbol for yours. Here's a holy symbol dedicated to somebody of evil. You could just use that, right?
Yeah,
No.
of course you can.
No, that's not at all how this works.
I've never understood though when you've got paladins that don't have to follow gods and stuff like that. It's just never computed with me.
Well, that's because those aren't real paladins.
Exactly, and I could never ever visualize a paladin unless it was following a god.
I will
state good god.
Yes, I will state, however, there is no wrong way to play D&D, but there are some ways that will get frowned upon very, very quickly.
There are lots of wrong ways to play D&D.
Yeah. Anyway,
I think you might be right. But moving on, the second one that is restricted between arcane and divine spellcasters are scrolls. So even if a spell is shared between the 2 classes or the 2 casters, the scroll will either exist as magical formulas or prayers. And if you pick up a scroll, it's got Detect Aether on it. It exists it's a spell that can be cast by both sides, but it is a divine scroll. It means it's a prayer of Detect Aether, rather than a magic formula that allows you to cast Detect Aether. So again, scrolls can only be used by one or the other, not both.
And the chat has actually given me an idea today, Dean, which is always dangerous. Me and ideas is a very dangerous thing. But in Untold Destiny, when you reach 20th and you've got enough legends, you can actually ascend. And I was thinking, after the discussion on legend, intelligent items, that maybe you could choose to link yourself with an item so that you are then passed down through generations, or you could be passed to someone else. So you could actually choose to do that. It's just a thought, but this is a sort of mad thought that I have, and that normally gets me into trouble with Jean, because I always come up with things like this.
So, what you want a magic item you can just pass down to all your characters? Is that
No.
what you're after?
No, oh God, no, I wouldn't do that.
No.
But I was thinking that a way of a character deciding that they want to remain active in the world, even though they've chosen to ascend, would be to tie themselves to an item.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
arranging for the that's actually really amazing, because it could be you've reached the end of the campaign, but you're going to be starting a new one. And that allows you get passed on to the new party and you become their mentor or something like that. And I think that's fantastic.
Oh, Dean's this one's
This
going
is
to
a good
send
one.
Dean off onto a flurry. See what I did there?
Yes. So there are special arrows, but I don't know whether to include them in this or a future book. And they will be your alchemical arrows. So fire tipped, acid tipped, stuff like that.
We've
We'll
also got our blunts
Yeah. We're going to have our
grapply wents.
blunt arrows. So they're designed to do blunt damage, but they will feature more in the advanced system, because we don't have different physical damage types. It's just physical damage in the basic system, make it nice and easy. But you will have your arrows that can deal fire damage, acid damage, cold damage, stuff like that. You'll also have your arrow biters, which are designed to penetrate stone, really thick, heavy arrows, so you can tie a rope to them, shoot them up into a cliff face, and then hopefully it'll stick in there, allowing you to ascend the cliff and to climb a bit more readily. So there will be special arrows, but I think they're going to appear in the tome of items rather than the basic book.
Now, I have a question, and this might actually help Vicky out a little bit, since apparently I can't roll for Jack to get her any good items.
I know, just distraught.
Right. I'm going to assume that there are monsters in Untold Destinies that cannot be harmed by regular attacks. It has to be some form of magical attack.
No.
No?
No.
In the advanced.
No, even in the advanced,
You've changed it again, haven't you?
I changed this ages ago. Remember, I play tested it. It did not go down well.
No, it didn't, did it?
It led. I understand, and it's always had a part in my. When I look back, it's a little bit nostalgic. It's that lovely. The problem is it shuts down things around the table. So there's nothing more that shuts down the player's enthusiasm than half of the group goes, oh well, I'm useless in this fight, and pretty much checks out of the fights there and then. And then you're kind of trying to keep the momentum going, and you've just got a bunch of players who are going, whatever, I can't affect it. I found it far more effective to have things resistant to damage, or being able to halve the damage coming in. So you always feel you're doing something, even though it might not be fully effective. It did. I was very much torn, and I decided not to go down that route, just because you end up with these. You can end up with the situation where, say for some reason, there's a spell that allows you to assume a form, and that form has you becoming immune to normal weapons. This is the other area that I saw so much abuse by players, and it would be those murder hobos who get high enough level before their murder hoboing comes out, and they get hold of that one spell and they go, oh, I'm going to become this now, and they become that, and they just go, yeah, nothing can touch me. I'm just going to start to, And you need to have specialist groups to come out, specialist guards and stuff with magic gear. Otherwise, they are almost invulnerable. Not quite.
I'd like to point out I have never been a murder hobo.
No.
Well,
sorry, Steve.
I'm just going to apologize then. I tried to help you out, Vicky, because I was going to say, even though you didn't get a magic item out of these rolls, Elandar did get a set of magical bracers. So next time we came up against something that could only be touched by magical stuff, he just pick up Elandar and beat the daylights out of the bad guy with him.
Absolutely.
Well, you know something. Dependent on, how she's feeling at the time. She might do that anyway.
Yes. Now, that's not to say that there won't be keyed bad guys. And this is where, for example, the whole ethos around needing a certain plus of weapon to harm a creature came from the Witch King in Lord of the Rings. The Witch King couldn't be harmed by any weapon. But there was one, the red steel could harm the Witch King. And if you remember, Merry and Pippin got red steel blades from the Barrow Downs. And it was, I'm trying to think which one, it was Merry, I believe, who managed to plunge his blade into the Witch King, and it hurt the Witch King. And that then brought the Witch King's defenses down.
He stabbed him in the face.
Well, yeah, he pretty much stabbed him in the face, and then Eowyn came in as well, and the two of them combined took down the Witch King. But it was that red steel blade that was integral to defeating the defenses. And that's where the whole idea of this creatures not being able to be harmed unless they're hit by a certain weapon or plus of weapon. There's no reason why we can't have creatures like that, which are legendary creatures. So they're named creatures. Part of their legend will be they cannot be harmed by weapons. Yeah, keyed bad guys. And that would be thematic, because then you're going, before we can take them down, we need to research, we need to find, we need to go on quests, we need to, and it builds that whole story. You don't just drop one in and leave the party floundering, unless you're hoping for that kind of meet the bad guy early and hope the party run away. But if they don't, you've got a total party kill, and there's better ways of doing that kind of trope. But as standard, the creatures. So if you fight a ghost, if the ghost is manifest, it can be seen, it can be hurt. There's enough of the ghost in the room to hurt, but I believe they've all got resistance to physical damage. So your swords aren't going to be as good, but you can still hurt them. Yeah, you want to blast them with Aether.
I tried to help you out, Vic. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know. You know something? It's just everything. It's
Well,
always stacked against me.
you got a short bow, and a sling staff if you take down those orcs. As a paladin, that must be great. Oh, and you got the lightest of all armor. The lightest of all armor.
Yeah. Sorry, D- must do better on the dice rolls.
Yeah.
So Freya's decided I wasn't allowed to dice roll tonight.
I know that's disappointing. If you find magical shields, so we covered weapons and armor, a magical shield, so +1 shield, +2 shield, or something like that. I say magical, made of special materials. What that does is it layers with your armor, so it increases your armor rating by 1, 2, or 3, giving you better. So it absorbs a bit more of the damage. It dovetails with your armor, making you better protected against incoming damage.
Is this what happened in your game, AGP? Were they supposed to run away? Because you said there was nearly a TPK, didn't you? It's a bit scary.
I know. We had a bit of a discussion on Legion of Myth about this, and meeting the bad guys early, and
So does Untold Destiny have named damage types that matter in combat? So yeah, we've probably touched upon it previously, because we would have talked about it around the advanced edition. So do you want to just go through what we're doing around the basic edition, please?
yes.
Steve?
So we
Before you get going too far, I'm going to have to dip out of here because I got people trying to contact me about stuff.
Not a problem, Steve.
But it has been a pleasure being here with you guys, as always. I hope you guys have a great rest of your stream, and I'll see you all next time.
Yeah, thanks very much for your company, Steve. Thank you.
And then there were two.
There were. So damage types. So the advanced system had the full set of damage types, which was your slashing, bludgeoning, piercing, as well as your fire, cold, ice. I say cold and ice are the same thing. Fire, acid, cold, and lightning, as well as things like Aether, which is pure magical force, poison, void, which is a special kind of damage. It just destroys anything it touches, so very dangerous to wield, as well as psychic as well. We've collapsed the 3 physical ones just down to physical, and there are still creatures that are resistant to certain types of damage. So if you come up against a fiery-based creature, don't hit it with fire magic. Likelihood is it'll be resistant, or in some instances immune to that fire damage. If a creature's summoned, or a demon, or something that has been brought through from the aether, it will typically have aether resistance because it is made of aether, and it's made from magic. So yeah, there's still a lot to consider, especially when you're going up against certain creatures. I think the best one, the crystal lizards, is a
Oh,
great
yes.
example. They got this massive crystal shell, and whilst the shell is up, they are resistant to any damage coming in. So they'll only ever take half damage, unless the damage is aether. So aether damage is designed to hit with force, or the damage is from a blunt instrument like a hammer. So whilst we don't have the blunt damage, it's all physical damage. In the case of the lizards, it is an exception, and that's the GM's call. And it's the GM's call because someone might have a sword and go, well, I'm not going to hit it with the blade. Can I hit it with the pommel? And the GM can make an instant adjudication, which is, yes, you can, but do you know what? That's really hard. I'm giving you a double bane. You know, you got 2 banes on that. It's going to be very difficult to land that blow because you're trying to get really in there and hit it. But if you do it, you can deal your damage, and it counts as blunt damage for taking down the shield of that creature. Once the shield of the lizard explodes, it's now susceptible to any damage type coming in. And it's got no armor rating at that point because it's just completely defenseless. So we do have a lot of these sort of tactical things where you've got to be thinking about the damage you're throwing out, and what the creature's resistant to. The advanced version takes it one step further. So you hit a skeleton with a blade or a piercing weapon, it's going to be taking half damage. You've got to hit it with a blunt weapon, and stuff like that.
Well, this is an interesting one. Ooh, does something like a void type weapon or artifact affect the user as well? Or are they always protected? I guess the same for fire, cold, etc. I would assume not all, but
Yes, so you can conjure fire weapons and elemental weapons, and you will not be. It doesn't bestow resistance to that type, but the weapon won't burn you if you're like holding a fire weapon or something like that. So you're not harmed by the weapon. If you create a void weapon, so this exists in the advanced system, it doesn't exist in our current system, in the basic system. If you summon a void weapon, a void type weapon appears in your hand. At the beginning of every round, you take void damage. It's because it's feeding back into you. It's just beginning to try and rip you apart. Now, the thing with void damage is the moment you drop something to 0 hit points, it turns to dust. So there is no trying to save. It's just this horrible damage that there's no resistance to it. It will always hit. You could use your brace test to absorb half of it. And there will be times if you're doing that. So for example, if you rolled a 1, I'd be immediately saying, while your arm is completely obliterated, you rolled a 1, you fumbled your brace test, your arm has been caught, the void damage has destroyed your armor. And then the damage goes through and you take double damage on top. As a hero, if you're taken to 0 hit points, there's no, I'm going to take wounds. The void damage kills you. So it is nasty. Whenever you wield void magic, you take damage first, void damage first, because it is ripping through your soul, your body. And so long as you survive, you can then deal a ton of damage out. So there's a real cost to this magic.
And void damage is typically not used by the good guys.
No.
There is a few of the nature gods, I think, allow you to some access to void.
Yes,
It tends to be. It's going to feature heavily in the So You Want to Play the Bad Guys book. But this is a very interesting one from Jeffra. Because healing magic is traditionally positive energy, could I use healing items to harm undead?
No, because we don't have healing magics. We have a couple of things that restore vigor and energy, which is restoring hit points, but we don't have the traditional healing magic in the way of like cure wounds, cure light wounds, and stuff like that. It frees up the cleric to be able to be what they want to be, serving their god and acting in a way you don't. I'm trying to remember who I was. Oh yes, of course, it was the Tennessee Table Tavern. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name. but he was talking about if you don't have a cleric in your party, you're in for a hard time. And that's one of the things we wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
Having that cleric in the party, needing to have that cleric in the party. So we don't have healing magics. Your response, you can take a recovery action to recover some of your hit points. You got first aid kit, so that's bandaging yourself up to recover more hit points. And at the end of combat, you get all your hit points back anyway. Wounds take longer to get back, but the magic can be used to remove poisons and cure disease, as well as healing kits. So traditional healing magic doesn't really exist, which means we don't have to face the decision on whether that should harm undead. If we did, however, it would harm undead because it is positive magic, and undead are made of negative energy.
And whereas we do have radiant, so we definitely have radiant.
Yes, we have radiant
damage.
and necrotic, radiant damage, necrotic damage, and you'll find there's a lot of evil creatures that are vulnerable to radiant damage. So if you hit them with radiant damage, they take an extra 2 dice worth of damage because they're more vulnerable to that damage.
And that's where we don't. So this is really quite interesting because again, because we don't have the cure like wound spells and stuff like that you typically see in D&D, we also don't have your traditional healing potions. So as Dean mentioned, you can heal. You can basically take a little breath, and you can take a recovery action during combat, which brings you back some. There is some tick healing in the game, but that's very rare and it's not constant. That can be applied, but generally we don't have stuff with healing potions. You've got your first aid kit and that's about it. So you could try and throw a first aid kit at an undead, but it wouldn't do much damage.
No. All clerics do get turn undead, though. So they can present their holy symbol and cause a lot of damage to the undead around them. If they are higher level than the undead by a certain amount, they can actually make the undead flee. So, yeah.
So Paddy heard that about mandatory clerics. So yeah, we're very lucky you don't need them. But yes, I agree. Clerics only heal people who sincerely convert.
Yes.
None of those heathens.
And yes, if you're playing a cleric properly, especially in D&D, yes, that's the stance to take.
Have we dropped in any silly Easter eggs, i.e. the material component for enlarge being a mushroom, etc.?
I don't think we have, but there's plenty of time to do that during editing. And we haven't because we've just been focused so much on getting the core system. I'm not aware of anything. Can you think of anything, Vicky, that we might have, Easter egg we might have dropped in, apart from the named spells?
The named spells, I think, are the main thing at the moment. We've been so, I think, in the weeds that we've not had chance to have a good chuckle yet. We've been too busy sweating. And the reason that we have been, what is this doing?
You okay there, honey?
Yes, it doesn't like me as usual. So just to remind you all, and if you haven't seen this yet, one of the reasons that we've been so busy is we have now got our sort of launchy page for Untold Destiny Basic Edition. We are going to be launching now on the 13th of October. Just a reminder and just to sort of show anybody who's joined a bit late. Look, we got 3 followers already, Dean. I'm so chuffed.
I know. It's
very exciting. So we've got our landing page up. 13th of October we'll be launching. June the adventure will be out. Dean and I aren't getting any sleep because we're always so busy trying to finish everything off. But we are absolutely loving every minute of it, aren't we, Dean?
We are. And I'm just thinking, you've got a very nice, could you copy that URL and pop it into chat?
Of course I can.
I'll avoid it. Nice one, Cyrus. Yes.
Is that the right one? Is that because it should be fine? Yes, I think it's fine. Unless I've just given everybody access to change my back kit, which, would be typical for me, my chair to keyboard interface. I can blame you because you told me to do it.
I know. I'm just checking now. No, that's perfect. That's a much better
I
one than the
pressed
one
the
I put in
right
there.
button.
Yes.
So there you go. So
And they can just hit follow and say, yes, appreciate, follow us, and you'll get access to all the latest on there. Why BackerKit? Yes. Shall I pop that on?
yeah, why BackerKit? So yeah, and
It's
then
okay.
I said I pressed it the same time as you did. Why BackerKit in particular? You know something, the tools are nicer. I used Kickstarter last time, or the doom session, as I like to refer to it. We did really well on when you consider we went to Kickstarter in 2024. We weren't active on X. We were barely active on Facebook. We went in with what we needed in order to be able to print what were 4 books at the time. So we went in with a fairly high, it was a £20,000 goal,
25,000.
25,000 goal, and we hit just over 60% of that. 58, 60% it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you consider that all we've done is go to one convention and people loved it. So we did, at the time we were really upset, but in hindsight it's been the best thing that has happened, because we've taken it so much further now, and it's so much more of a better game. But we are launching this. We're still doing all of the planning in the background for the goal and all of that sort of stuff. But the reason we went for BackerKit is it gives you, in my opinion, better pre-launch ability. It's got better handling throughout. Kickstarter allegedly has a greater reach to people on their platform, but as we found with Kickstarter when we went with them, they barely even, there was nothing we got via Kickstarter that was at any use. The role-playing community seems a lot more vibrant on BackerKit from what I've seen. There's some really cool OSR games going live at the moment. So in the next sort of 7 days, there's some really cool ones. And you know, it just seems to be a little bit more aligned to TTRPG. And I really quite like, I've played with both interfaces, and I do prefer the BackerKit one. So yeah, it just, even though there was a bit of swearing on occasions, and I did delete the page 3 times before I actually got it how I wanted it, or because I just didn't understand a couple of bits and pieces. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not a bad little interface.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot worse.
Yeah.
But that's the reason.
There's also, I've a lot of the sort of I say smaller creators, some of the recently launched projects that were on Kickstarter have moved to BackerKit, and the reports I'm getting back is that the support on BackerKit is far better than Kickstarter. Kickstarter, yes, there's a huge crowd on there, but you get lost in the noise on Kickstarter because there's just so much going on, and unless you're within the in crowd, if I can put it like that, it's hard to get noticed. So you never end up on the front page. And if you don't end up on the front page, it doesn't matter what platform you're on, because unless you're on the front page of Kickstarter, you get lost. You get lost in the sheer number of projects going through. So BackerKit seems to be a lot of role play TTRPG companies have pivoted to BackerKit or are using BackerKit. And I think our interview with Richard Witters, we asked why BackerKit, and he gave a really good answer as to why Kay would have suggested BackerKit, and it was all around the support, their fulfillment, and everything like that. So we decided, yeah, let's use BackerKit this time round. Nothing against Kickstarter. It's a very fine platform, but you know, we a lot more indies seem to be using BackerKit. So yeah, it made sense.
I have to admit that, because I went to set up the teaser page a few days ago, and we've just been non-stop, haven't we, Dean?
Yeah.
I've even had an email today off them going, see you haven't launched your teaser. Do you need any do you need a hand? If you need a hand, let us know. We'll jump on a call with you. Now, that was something I would never have had from Kickstarter. I love the fact I can set this up several months in advance. There was someone I could see there. They've actually set up the teaser for theirs 7 years in advance. I'm like, wow, I know I like planning, but that's ridiculous. So yeah, I like the fact I can set it up so far in advance. It is fairly easy to use, and there seems to be a lot of really good support.
Yeah.
So Michael wants to know, when we put together the official Until Destiny song and make a neat commercial, it's on the list. I've got to do a video. We've got to do a video for the backer kit. We've got a whole load of stuff we're going to have to do. So Michael, hi. I'll be reaching out for help. After you put up with me being a muppet the other day, going, how do I use AI to make pretty thumbnails? Oh God, I'm so bored of my thumbnails.
I know, but you seem to be excelling at the moment. We're going to have to probably
better.
Buy a service with how often you've been using it to just generate stuff and create stuff.
Just because I've turned you into Tintin on multiple occasions today.
I think they're fantastic. They look great. Yes.
Yeah, AGP said he'll probably be using BackerKit as well. Yeah, I do like it. And again, if you get stuck, once I've been through it, AGP, you get stuck, just reach out and I'll give you a hand. But yeah, it seems really quite intuitive, to be honest. And I love the fact I could set up a baby launch page and then just build on it, which to me is just fantastic. I really like that, because it means I can eat it a teaspoon at a time.
Yeah. However, it is now midnight for us.
It is midnight for us. So that means that someone's got to go and get their beauty sleep.
I do.
You do.
I do. I need it badly.
You know Alfie's going to be in bed already, don't you?
We're going to have to peel the cats off the bed.
They do this every time we do this stream, and we walk into the bedroom and the cats are like all over the bed going, no, you left the sleeping area. Don't think you're coming in here now.
Yes, but thank you for all of you in the chat. You have been so supportive. I hope all those magic item tables have whet your appetite. I even have tables so that when you generate a scroll, you can roll to see what spell is on that scroll. You're not having to just pick a spell at random. So, well, you do pretty much pick a spell at random, but you're not having to trawl through the spells and wonder how you're going to do that.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeffrem. It really means a lot to us. Yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you are excited for what we're going to bring to you all, and I hope you like the way we've approached the creation of treasure hoards, using a very traditional method, but in a more streamlined sense. So,
and with that as well, on the BackerKit, any feedback, I won't be offended. It's not perfect, but I'm always up for some feedback. If you could follow us, we would be absolutely thrilled. Thank you so much. You're all wonderful. And with that, it's good night for him.
And it's good night from her.
Night, guys.
Good night.